So what I'm going to do is introduce each of our panelists, and I do have each of their bios, and I'm going to take the time to give you a good feel for their background, because that's an important part of the story. And then we'll turn it back to each panelist and ask them to tell about the decision-making they went through when they were at that very important point in life where they said, am I going to stay? Am I going to go? And if I go, am I going to come back? And it may not have felt like a decision-making process, but it was. You did have options. We all do. We all have choices. And so we want to hear that story and see if we can hear any common themes. So first on our panel is Brad Bishop, and he joined OrthoWorks as executive director in June of 2010, and he brings with him more than 20 years of orthopedic industry experience. Most recently, Brad served as director of public affairs at Zimmer Incorporated, where he was responsible for internal and external communications, corporate philanthropy, community affairs, and state and local government relations. He joined Zimmer in 1988 and served in a variety of public affairs and communications roles for Zimmer and its former parent company, Bristol-Myers Squibb. And in addition to his industry experience, Brad has served on a number of association and civic boards, including the Indiana Health Industry Forum, the Kosciuszko Economic Development Corporation, the YMCA, the Kosciuszko County Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Orthopedic Capital Foundation, and the Kosciuszko County Community Foundation, where he was board president. He's a past president of the board of directors of the United Way of Kosciuszko County, and a graduate of Ball State University, and a lifetime resident of our community. Caleb France graduated from Taylor University in 2004 with a degree in business and finance. 2004 is when he graduated. I just want to understate that. That wasn't that long ago. With a degree in business and finance, and he's been in the food industry for more than a decade and is the owner and executive chef of Flying Fish Incorporated and also Cerulean in Winona Lake, and he's operating also a venture to expand Cerulean 2 in Indianapolis. That's going to be coming up soon. Caleb is also involved in Micro Roasting Coffee Company and real estate development, and he has such a passion for cooking that you'll see him all over doing cooking classes, special displays. He's very involved in our community. An example of a young man who grew up here, worked here, and found a way to begin a business here, a very successful business, a very yummy business. All right. Rita Price Simpson is next on our panel, and she lives in Mentone. In fact, she's the president of the Mentone Chamber of Commerce. Rita is a broadcaster. I know you've all heard her on WRSW. She does color commentary for the games and has a long and prosperous career as a broadcaster. She also works in sales and community relations for WRSW as well. She's a member of the Mentone United Methodist Church. She's a board member of the Kosciuszko County Foundation. And she is also part of the Women's Advisory Committee of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, into which she was inducted in 2004. She has numerous awards for sports broadcasting and volunteer service. She started her sportscasting career in 1970 doing color commentary and statistics and interviews. In 1976, she did her first play-by-play in basketball. She has done every girls' basketball state championship since 1976. And she has done both the boys and girls basketball and football games for Tippecanoe Valley since 1976. So she is the voice of youth sports in our community and is an amazing person. So we're glad she's on our panel, resides in Mentone. Kevin Deerdorf currently holds the position of Executive Vice President of Lake City Bank. He is responsible for retail operations, consumer and mortgage lending, the bank's brokerage and investment activities, marketing functions, and facilities and maintenance. That's all. Having grown up on a dairy farm outside of Akron, Indiana, he graduated with honors from Purdue with an associate's degree in animal science and began his banking career in his hometown. He then went on to complete his bachelor's degree with high honors from IU, and he later completed the Graduate School of Banking at the University of Wisconsin. He's also been named as a distinguished alumni by the Tippecanoe Valley School Corporation. Since moving to Warsaw in 1995, he served as campaign chair, president, and chairman of United Way, earning Volunteer of the Year honors. He's a member of the Rotary Club, and he's chairman of the Board of Cardinal Services. He's a founding member of the Kosciuszko Business Leadership Network, and he currently serves on the board and is immediate past chairman for the Warsaw-Kosciuszko County Chamber of Commerce. He also serves on the Community Action Council for the county as well. He's grant committee of the Kosciuszko County Community Foundation, and in his spare time, he's husband to Amy and father to Mallory and Alex. And then finally, Rick Curlin is a graduate from Warsaw Community High School in 1971, and he received his bachelor's in business administration from Tri-State College, now Trine. And he's the owner of Curlin Motor Company, incorporated in Silver Lake, and Curlin Trailers, Motorsport, and Western World in Warsaw. He's a member of the Warsaw Kosciuszko Chamber, and he's part of the board there. He's part of the Warsaw Kosciuszko Chamber of Commerce Ambassador Committee, Warsaw Breakfast Optimist Club, Warsaw Masonic Lodge, Kosciuszko County Shrine Club, Scottish Rite, lifetime member of the Alpha Kappa Psi Business Fraternity. He's part of the Riley Hospital Regional Fundraising Committee and the Silver Lake Economic Development Committee, and he attends Wabash Christian Church. We have busy people on our panel. People who were born here, either stayed here or returned here, and as you can see, have made major investments into our community. So I'd like to just go down the row, and so share the mic up there, lady and gentlemen, and tell us about the decision that you made to stay or return, and some of the reasons why. So Brad, what was your thinking in terms of how you were going to put down roots?
First I want to offer a disclaimer that I'm probably technically a leaver from South Whitley, where I grew up, according to Dr. Carr's classification.
We'll claim you.
But I guess I've been around long enough that I'm an honorary returner to Warsaw Wine and Lake, so that's great. After college, I moved to Indianapolis, moved from there down to the Louisville area, up to Chicago, to South Bend, back to Indianapolis before I came here. And that was in 1988. I'd done quite a bit of work for Zimmer on a project basis. I was on my own. This was the 80s. I was single and younger, and that's what you did to show your daring do back in those days. You did work for the man. But in 1998, I decided to go back to work for the man, and became a full-time employee at Zimmer. And at the time, I thought, I'd always been a media relations guy in my previous jobs. It wasn't really, I didn't think a lot of demand for that here, but the job at Warsaw offered me a chance, and at Zimmer offered me a chance to learn more about the actual workings of the business than I'd been exposed to in my previous jobs. So I thought, well, I'll do this a couple of years, and then I'll move back to Indianapolis or Chicago, wherever, and get back on my career track. And that was 23 years ago, something like that. So a lot of change at Zimmer over that period of time. Probably had 500 employees when I got out of college. 500 didn't exist. So our community's really, really changed in terms of its complexity and its position in the world and all those kinds of things. So I can't really say it was a decision. It was just sort of, I had a plan, but somebody says, we make plans and God smiles, and I'm here, 20-something years later.
So originally it really was a career decision because the opportunities were here and plugged in. But something must have occurred during those years when you decided, wait a minute, this is going to stay home for me. Was that because your kids had been incorporated into schools, your wife had found a position here, or what was that? Yeah,
it was all of those things. It was being married and having kids, and getting involved in community affairs at Zimmer and things like that. So a lot of different things like that. I'm a bit of a contrarian on brain drain, I think. I think everybody should follow my example. I would require every college graduate from my town to move to a Chicago suburb for a couple of years and have a kid and then have to face traffic and the fact that they need to buy a bigger house and a good school district and all that. And I think, then our quality of life starts to look pretty amazing when it comes to raising kids and
some real truth.
Having a family.
Caleb, tell us your story.
Thanks. Yeah, I actually went to middle school at Tippecanoe Valley, so in that area. Grew up in Goshen a little bit, and then went to school at Lakeland. Not here though; it was a couple trailers on a hill. I was telling Brad we wore our winter jackets through every class in the wintertime. So things have changed a little bit in River City. But ended up going to Taylor University in Upland, Indiana, so kind of from cornfield to cornfield, and then back to Warsaw Wine and Lake. Went to school at Taylor for business and finance, and my passion at that time, and still is, was small business. And 10 years ago, I never would have guessed that it would have been involved with food. And I never would have told anybody that I wanted to live in Warsaw, Winona Lake, but this is where we ended up, and absolutely love it. I'm a huge advocate for it now. I wanted to pair my passion of business with my passion for food. All through college, studied food, and it's just something that's always come natural to me. And I felt like it was a good fit in our community with the orthopedic industries and some of the balls that I think were being dropped as far as supporting kind of this international client, more sophisticated domestic client in the Warsaw, Winona Lake. So when we started the restaurant, we've always kind of gone over that, or after that creative class of customer, and also staff. And I think that was part of the reason that I ended up coming back into the area, is because I felt that if you feel like you're good at something, you want to contribute something to a community, you need to go back and help make it a better place. And so I kind of consider myself, like many of you, as an educator. One of our main passions at the restaurant isn't necessarily food, but it's education through our staff into our communities, and making people feel like they're not in our county when they walk in our door. And I know that might sound kind of bad, but I think it leads to a better quality of life.